welcome to another day and another day of Dose of Did You Know? And with me today is a good friend. We go way back. Alec, how are you today?
Danielle, I'm doing so great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So Alec and I met, gosh, time is a blur to me, but years ago. It's been multiple years since we met and
Yes, it
we
has.
stayed friends. And you've watched me kind of move and transition and figure out where I will land. And I feel like I've kind of done the same for you. Maybe?
Definitely. It's been an amazing experience. Yeah, 100%. It's been awesome to watch you grow, seeing your passion. You always followed your passion, and that's what I loved about you and admire is that in itself. It's like, you know what? I love this. I'm going to do this. You know what? I've never tried this. There's something pulling my heart to it. Let me go with it, right? And so here we are today.
Here we are today. Years later, we're still together. But tell everybody, because I know you, but tell the world, who is Alec?
Thank you for asking. So, of course, my name is Alec Friel. I'm a published author. I published a book in May of 2018 called The Millionaire's Apprentice. It
It's
was a part of the
good.
process working for, thank you. And actually being the apprentice for Jeffrey Combs is how I connected with you originally. So a little bit about me, I help schools and programs raise money right now. That's what I'm focused on full time. I'm also in consulting. So I assist business owners, real estate with Facebook marketing, acquisition, sales training, and then retaining clients with customer fulfillment, customer experience. I've also done personal coaching, mindset coaching. That's more of my professional career. In terms of personally, I love being outdoors. I love nature, love exercise. I was walking this morning. I'm out here on the West Coast, so it's 9 a.m. out here. So went for a walk around the lake. Love dining out, love good foods, good people, good energy, great music. Simple man overall. So that's a little bit about me.
A simple man overall. I love that. One of the things that I loved about you when we met was, well, you're young, you're younger than I am, but you are driven. You were driven then. You were driven in college. You were taking steps outside of, the normalcy then. And was that always your path? Even when you look back as a child, can you be like, huh, you did. I did take steps that were a little, I don't want to say aggressive, but weren't in the norm. You weren't scared to kind of go outside the box.
Right. Great question. I think one of the most valuable assets to me is my ability to adapt and become uncomfortable. And you and I can connect on this with gymnastics.
Yeah.
So going back to gymnastics, yes, I focused on that very diligently, 4 days a week, 4 hours a day, was skilled at it. Won the AAU Junior Olympics when I was like 9 years old, and then I won it when I was 10 years old. I won a state championship when I was younger. That carried me into other sports. So then the other sports carried me into college. College carried me in that passion that I had to help people. I love people, but I also always knew I wanted a lot more than what I grew up in and what I saw. So with that, I was able to start in a network marketing business. I didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to get started in a business or put down. So from there, I was able to build a network marketing business. And it turned out to create fortunes for me through mindset, my skills internally. Financially, I was making a decent income at a younger age. I was working in a car dealership selling cars as well. So the passion, the drive, the assertiveness, the relentless attitude, I believe I've had for many, many years. And I continue to refine that process because I feel like we never master it. It's almost like our muscles when we train, right? It's like now we're 2, 3 months into quarantine. I miss the gym. I miss working out. I'm walking. I'm doing push-ups, doing what I can with my body weights. But overall, it's the same as a muscle, right? So same with your mindset or your attitude. It's like every single day you have to show up and just be prepared for what's to come today. But yes, to answer your question, I believe that all the way going back, college to that first business to even sports, back in high school. It's all a part of building and developing your character. So
Yeah.
that's I hope that
Do you
answers
have
your
this
question.
piece? Yeah, it is. It is. I want to say hi to Ronnie and Justin out there because they said, hey, hey guys. So we got from
Hey,
all over. Actually, Justin's on your side
hey
of the
guys.
but one of the things about
Okay,
you
nice.
is that you're humble. Because I saw like love Jeffrey, but he is a hard ass to work for. Like I'm not sure I could work for him. I'm just saying, especially when I was young, because my ego was on fire then, and my insecurities and all of that stuff. But you really took the lessons. Probably you should guys read his book because it's helpful. But you really took those lessons and you didn't block it. You didn't fight him with trying to be something or defend yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. You didn't like fight it by trying to constantly defend yourself. You just took in the process and went with it. You got to talk to me about that. What was that like? Because that is a huge skill. Huge.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. A lot of times we go through life thinking we know everything. And there's certain people that you want to listen to. There's certain people who have things that you want. So in terms of building humility, you also have to have boundaries. And so having the humility to say, you know what, I'm a student, there's more to learn and more to grow. That's part of the process. And then on the flip side, knowing your own self boundaries and knowing your own values and your core beliefs to the most deepest level of who you are, and being able to go so far, but then be able to say, hold up, this is contradicting my core philosophy since I was, since I've been in memory of my spirit and who I am. So in terms of humility, I think it's just knowing that there's always more to learn, there's always more to grow, but then you come to a point where you can be a leader and you can be the expert when you've studied the material long enough, when you've put in your time into the discipline and the art of whatever it is you're doing. There comes a point where you have to create some separation and break off, and then be able to evolve for yourself and be the leader that we are all capable of. But many times we get stuck in this like student humility. We try to be humble. We try to be, have humility, but then it gets to a point where you have to step into that power a little bit more and be able to lead by example through the process. So where it started from is life. Life throws curveballs at us. So humility, it's like as much as I think I know, as much as I trust myself, as much as everything seems golden and you have a positive attitude and clear thought processes and you're healthy, life happens. And when life happens, that's where humility you have to have that humility. Because if not, then, I just feel like you do not grow as much as if you can take a step back and say, this is happening for me. What can I take away from this? And that's everything in my life. I feel like that's everything that's ever happened.
Yeah, but I have to just reiterate here how young you were. I mean, it's not like you were a teenager, you were out of college, but your maturity level in that space was so high because I've seen other people. I can only talk about my, when you're working with Jeff, because I've never seen you work for anybody else, but I've seen other people also work for him who did not handle it. Now, it took a long time for them not to defend themselves in public when they were corrected and things like that. So where does that come from? It's like such a gift and a secret to all. Where do you think that came from, where you could just shut your mouth and say,
So if I want to share with you a couple experiences throughout my life, things have happened, and starting from childhood. But I went down a dark path for a while, a dark path of just anger, unresolved anger, not really sure, wanting to fight, wanting to fight people, getting drunk. This was college days. I ended up spending 10 days in jail for a felonious assault. And though that was one of the most humble experiences of my life, because it reset my entire life. And so how old was I? I was 20. I was 21 years old when I got put in jail for 10 days, 2 weeks, but I served, 13, 14 days, had some good time, got out early. Most people don't even know this, but this time I really went back to my core roots, to prayer, to my thought processes, to why am I doing what I'm doing? Who do I really want to be? Why did I choose to do this? Right. And so that's part of the process. And it happened. So that then led to sobriety. It led to 3 years of probation, tens of thousands of dollars in fines that I had to pay back. So what was I doing from the time I was 20 to 23? I was building a business. I was focused on developing my mind and my attitude. I wanted to build more skills. I wanted to be a master salesperson. I wanted to be a great leader. I wanted people to look at me and say, I want to listen to him because of just his energy, not because of what he has, not because of, material, but because there's something innate about him. So that comes with a lot of practice, meditation, peace of mind, practicing the art of loving yourself, loving others, having compassion. So, to share with you what really was humbling to me was that experience. That was completely life-changing. Most people don't have to go to jail, but that was my experience at 20. And at that point, it was no turning back. For me, I made the commitment, I will never go back to that. I will never be that same person. And I changed. And then every single day, it's a recovery process every single day, because I promise you, there's so much wiring within our soul from the time we're children and young kids that a lot of things you have to work on a daily basis. Otherwise, you lose it.
Mm-hmm. Even to this day, yeah. Diane, who's out there, he is amazing. She said you were amazing, and he is. And Justin,
what's up, Diane?
Right on point. And Donna Drake, she has the Donna Drake Show out of New York. So, hey guys, I want to talk about. So you didn't just stop. You made this decision. And then it was you're in this constant, almost, I don't want to say rebirthing, but that's how I feel like it for me, because every day I'm this new person. I'm this different kind of person that I was yesterday. My thoughts are different. I see things different. Even the way I see my business, I was having a conversation with my friend this morning, and I was like, I've never had this experience in my business in this way. It was kind of like one of those people using you to get themselves ahead, kind of one of those situations. And I'm a different person now, so my eyes open differently to it. So does that happen to you, that all of a sudden, like you're going, but you're in this kind of evolution process and you're accepting this evolution process, so you can have a situation where you see it as a brand new, like it's never happened before situation, because you're like a new person.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like you can see what you want and you can see where you want to go, but there's going to be obstacles along the way, right? And you might think this is where I'm supposed to be, and you end up over here. And over here is where the blessing is. Over there wasn't meant to be. So being able to, yes, reset on a daily basis. One of my favorite ways to reset is breathing and breathing exercises, and really taking that time to open my lungs and to reset myself. And this is my reset on a day-to-day to moment basis. And then what I love about evolution is we're here today, and we could connect a year from now and we have different thoughts and we have a different perspective on it. So there's really no right or wrong way. It's all relative to the viewer at that point in the viewer's life. So I guess to answer your question, it's just, it's a part of a daily process, and to see what you want and go towards that, put your momentum and your actions towards that, your communications, your efforts, everything you can do to continue improving that towards that goal. But if you end up over here, that's where you're supposed to be.
And how for you, how do you get over here and letting go of everything that was over there? Because I feel like that happens to us a lot. We get stuck. Well, this is what we're supposed to be. And I was working so hard for this. And now if I don't do this and I don't say I'm this and I'm not this, then I failed that. And people will laugh at me and they're not going to take me serious over here. So for you, how do you, like, I understand, like, that is not where you're supposed to be. So don't be there. Don't waste your time. But how do you handle that, or have handled that, or suggest people handle letting go of this part and accepting
Right.
your blessing?
That's such a good, correct. That's such a good question. So there's a few answers to it. Being able to accept where you're at is number one, start with, and it's going to sound cliche, start with love. Ask yourself, why is this supposed to be? If it's a relationship and you think it's supposed to work and it doesn't work and it ends up you guys are going separate ways, lead with love. Lead with your heart. Lead with more value. Maybe not specific to that person, maybe to yourself, right? I also believe that the way to reflect and let go of these things is understand your own personal addictions. Is like we're walking chemicals, and like that's what we are. We have these feelings and our brain secretes these proteins that react to peptides. And I don't know, I'm not the biologist, right? But I know we have these chemical releases in our body, and through that we have specific feelings, and those feelings can come through specific thoughts, because we can change our feelings through our thoughts, but we also, the environment can change our feelings without any thoughts. So it's like all happening together. So being able to understand what is it that you're attracting every single day or every single year or every single relationship or every single boss or career, why does it keep happening to you? And being able to ask yourself and reflect on that. What's the payoff? What am I receiving in every single toxic relationship? What am I receiving from not feeling good enough about who I am every single night, not talking good to myself before I go to bed? So it's the little things that we change. We change internally and we can change externally. And both of them are, I believe, as important. I don't think one is any more or less important, because I believe both of them change our philosophies and in our physiologies. So in terms of like, how can you accept being here rather than being here? Number one, lead with love through the process, and then understand what got you here. And then everything else I feel is breath work. It's simple breath work. It's, here I am, what's next, right?
Yeah.
And then just step into that power.
I love what you said. Like, that so resonated. What are you receiving from that? Because it is like when you are on this path and you know it's not your path, but you're scared to leave it. Why? What are you getting out of that? Is it the recognition of others that is feeding you and you're not going to have it here because you're new? Like, is it the security and you don't have security in your life, so you're transferring it into this situation? I love that. And I think that needs to be, I'm like sweating here.
And
you got me all going. It needs to be like a sticky note.
I have a fan over here blowing on me.
Right? I needed that. A sticky note of like, what am I receiving from this? Or like maybe across my forehead or everybody's forehead.
Right. Well, and oftentimes we're doing things, I know personally, right? I go through life and there's so many times I've been doing something that I knew it wasn't my true calling, but I wanted to get good. I wanted to be great at that because that's what I was doing on a day-to-day, right? And for an example, a job, right? If it's a specific job, for me, it was a personal job. It was selling cars. Although I didn't love it and I knew this is temporary, I appreciate and respect all people who do that because I understand it. I just knew it wasn't for me, but I wanted to be great at what I was putting my time and energy into. So if it was me doing it, I want to be the best. I want to be an expert at it. I want to learn and become as good as I can, because then on my next part of life, my next endeavor, my next chapter, that will help me. That will assist me in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Well, how do you break it when, okay, you've mastered it as much as you're supposed to master it? How do you know? Because you're very good at that. Okay, I've mastered it. You don't stay too long. So what advice do you give for that? Because you are really good at that.
Yeah, I feel like following your heart. I feel like if you're at a point where you feel it's became that time for you to retire into that next chapter, I feel like, depending on what people believe, God, the universe, other people, spirit, your heart, everything will work out how it should. So when you're there, ask for more. Ask for more. Ask for more direction. Ask for a new opportunity. You have to ask. And once that happens, doors open up. And it's miracles. Miracles will happen every day for anybody. But there's also only certain points in my life I can reflect on, maybe 10 major key life-changing events that have completely shaped where I'm at today. So I feel, to answer your question, follow your heart and know when that time is there. And most people do know, but most people are so creatures of habit and comfortability, which I get that because I'm a human too. We want to just stay doing what we're doing rather than get up and saying, you know what, it's just time. It's time for something else. And I don't think that you have to jump the gun. And I do feel I've rushed certain decisions in my life. I feel that certain decisions I have been a little bit too aggressive or assertive, but I wouldn't ever change it. I would never change it. So I do think there's just a balance. And if you follow your heart, you'll know what's right.
Yeah, it's following your heart, and then you have to act once you actually receive what's coming from your heart is that next kind of step,
Absolutely. The acting, I feel like you just completed what I was saying. And so that was perfect that you added that, because that's the other aspect that most people don't do, is they are not willing to give up what they have and who they are and their identity to get up and change into a new person, to move across country, to start a new relationship, to begin a new career, to get outside of the society and the norms that society puts on you through the media and through social media and just everything, right? So to be able to act on it is definitely 100% of the variable as well.
Yeah.
I love that you added that.
Yeah. Well, it's your words. I'm just repeating what I've received. So, so before I have
love your
one
American
question.
flag, by the way.
Oh, it's my jam. It's kind of going because we're moving. So it's kind of moving into each different room, and my whole setup's moving. And then I don't know if you want. I've said it a couple of times, but we're moving to an RV while we build our house. So I'm going to be like tiny home living. So I don't know. So Rocco was like,
there you go.
The flag's going to take up like the whole wall. What are you going to do? I'm like, I will find a way to make it work. Don't you worry. Like,
right.
It's going to be just rigged up all over the place. Who knows? But it will. It'll happen. I want to talk about this. Is so you kind of have these, like, maybe I'm misspeaking, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to talk about this before I ask my last question, and this is why I said 20 minutes, kind of. Maybe I'm the long-winded one. I blamed other people, but maybe. Is that you have you're out in the Bay Area, right? Is it the Bay Area that you're in?
San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, so you're in the Bay Area and you do a lot of fundraising, and you kick ass at anything you do. Like, you decide you're going to do something, and you really do. You like master it, and you're doing that. But you're also working with companies. You're starting to kind of take your expertise into company trainings. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's something that I'm in the process of evolving into. I've done personal coaching and I've mastered sales and customer service. So when we spoke last, I told you this was where my heart was pulling me, was some sort of corporate training or career development, because I already coach clients, but to take it to the next level, yes, I want to assist corporations with really enhancing the effectiveness, the communication, the results of the company, and tying up the ships, basically, because I know that I can do it with a $1 million, $2 million company, and that's the same. It's just broken down to a different variable with $100 million or $500 million company. So yes, where my heart's pulling me is that. It's very early phases, but based on what I know and everything I've studied and worked on and developed for myself, that's going to be something that it's a calling for me.
I had to get that out there because I had to give you a huge shout out. And normally on these things, I don't really talk what people do because that's not what the show is about. It's not about what you do, but you have such a way of expressing and breaking down fundamentals. And you're like this old soul in this young, energetic, fresh soul mixture that I just had to put it out there because I respect you so much, not just what you do, but who you are as a person. So I had to get that out there and give you a little plug. Sorry, everybody, but he's worth it. He was worth it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means so much. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. So here's my last question, and I will stick to as close to 20 minutes as possible with you. And don't overthink it. Just whatever comes to your heart and your mind, and your lips. But in this moment right now, what does love mean to you, Alec?
Great question. Love is in the eye of the beholder. So I believe similar to beauty, right? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Love is in the heart and the mind of the beholder. We can love things and at a different point in life, we might not love it as much because we change. So I think love's on the most simple form. It's a feeling, it's a connection, it's an energy, and it's all around us all the time. And so you can find it in pieces anywhere you're at, anywhere you're being, any of your thought process, and there's always the opposite. And so the opposite of love, right? But that love to me is happiness. Love to me is peace. Love to me is great friends, good energy. It's around us. It's within us, and it's something that it's a choice as well. I believe that love can be a choice, and so it's a beautiful thing. And I love that question.
Yeah.
And I actually the last chapter of my book is actually love and be loved. So it's all focused on not only expressing, but also the receiving of it. And so there's different, the 5 love languages, I believe, is the book. I read that a couple of years back, and just understanding different ways to express, and people receive love differently as well. So love to me is it's honest, it's pure, it's light, it's simple, it's here, it's us in its simplest form. It can be a choice. So that's love to me.
I love this question. I sit with the answers that everyone gives me all day because love is very fluid to me. And that's kind of, because we're fluid people. We are fluid human beings. Thank you so much, everybody. Click on him, follow him, get to know him. He's just an amazing human being. And thank you so much for taking the time this morning, afternoon, morning for you, to be with us and share part of your heart with us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Danielle. When you called me and we reconnected, and you were like, how can I serve you? What can I do? And it's like, well, what can I do? And I just love and respect everything you're doing. Keep following your heart. And I highly recommend people follow you. They listen into you because you are an amazing woman. And I can't wait to hear about the RV lifestyle and everything that's to come, a new house. And so thank you for having me on your show today, and hope the audience received some value, took a couple nuggets away, and definitely loved connecting with you today.
Oh, thank you. And to everybody out there, thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. And as always, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Till next time.